Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
Welcome. Today is an incredibly exciting edition of Story Club for several reasons.
Yes.
One, we have special guest, writer, author, tuber, content creator, just an amazing human with us, Taylor Ann Wright. She's going to tell us all about herself briefly. Sarah is here. And what makes this actually doubly special is that the three of us all read the story twice in the last couple months. And so I'm just hype. I heard word of annotated the hell out of it. I myself, this is going to be a great discussion. So if it's your first time here, this is Story Club. This is part of a larger project called the Public Writers Workshop. There's a Discord. We are writers who are reading, learning about writing through reading. It's great. So I'm so glad you're all here. Welcome. I'm Asa, former screenwriter, now fiction writer, primarily short fiction. Tay and Sarah, y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Hello. I'm Tay. I am an indie author. I have 2 published works out right now. It is a part of a YA fantasy series. I am rewriting and republishing the first book, so that's what I'm currently working on. And then the third book I'm on, draft 3 of now. And it's looking more like another rewrite, so I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, that's what I do. And then I make content here on YouTube about writing and my writing journey, as well as the love I have for books. And then I go to a lot of little free libraries. I'm a huge advocate for keeping books in circulation and going to used bookstores and going to your libraries and going to little libraries and stuff. So yeah, that's a little about me.
Beautiful. And
by the way,
hello.
if you're in the stream, Sarah, sorry to cut you off one hot second. If you're in the stream, let us know. Mateo, bienvenido, welcome, Lord Huntress to the mix. Yes, Laura, listen to the story. Yes, if you're in the chat, let us know. These story clubs are collaborative, so would love to hear your thoughts, and we will feature them. Sarah, go ahead, take it away.
Well, I like Laura's comment here. Laura says, I've got a Ligotti problem. I feel like everybody who even just reads one of his stories immediately just has a Ligotti problem because I identify with that so hard. But hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Ray Werner. I am a writer and podcast producer living in the Midwestern United States. I've literally never done that before. I had a nice flub line. I have the Right Now podcast, which is a show for writers and creators of all kinds. I have an audio drama called Girl in Space, which is about a girl in space. Tay, I resonated so hard with what you said about the rewrites. I am on my 7th rewrite of season 2 of Girl in Space, and it's
so
yes.
Hard. With the second book, I rewrote the entire book probably 4 times total. I had a full draft of like 50,000 words that I was rewriting. And then, so I feel your pain.
My heart. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, yes. In the depths of rewrites, I don't envy either of you. Hey, that because you said it's book 3, right?
Yeah. And the final book in the series. So there's a lot. I feel a lot of pressure to. Yes. There's a lot to wrap up. A lot of characters to do justice for, and
Yes. Good luck, and Sarah, good luck on season 2. Jeez. All right, y'all. Just gotta get loose for this, y'all. This is like no joke. There's scary stories, and then there's stories like these. Today we're talking about the Frolic, all right, which is the first story in this collection, which is actually 2 collections in one of short stories by Thomas Ligotti. This is an American writer, short story writer, also philosopher, had some very intense philosophical views. He was like what's the word for it? A natalist?
Nihilist?
No. The one where
not
you're
a nihilist.
No, the one where you're like, people shouldn't have children.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So this dude is full on, and his philosophy is at work in these stories.
Wow.
And just in case you didn't read the story, no worries. We will be kind of reading passages throughout. I'm going to kind of give a quick summary here. And the way the chat is going to work today is we're going to talk about what it was like to read these stories and then talk about what we can learn from them as writers. So the Frolic, in a word, is about a family, a sort of bourgeois upper middle class family that moves to a small town is it New York? Do we get his place?
I think so. We get the name. It's Knowlegate.
Knowlegate.
That is, yeah.
Move to a small town, which is generally a nice place, except for the fact that there is a high security prison there. So there's the husband in this family is a doctor. He works in kind of the psych ward with the most dangerous patients in this prison. But the story is told through the point of view of his wife, who is just dying to get out of town. She's like, the place sucks. I don't want to live in a prison town. I don't want our family to be exposed to some deranged criminal who gets out in the night. They have a daughter, a young girl is in the home as well. And the story unfolds at one scene. And it's just day after work, everyone's hanging out. Hubby is just like, my dear, I hate the job. And she's like, yes. Finally, exactly. And then, they have a conversation, they kind of get tipsy, drinks are made, and we hear about a particular criminal that the doctor has been working with. So I'm going to leave it there. That's like the setup. That's the setup.
Wow, what a setup.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tay, I don't know, it was your spark on some video of yours talking about this collection that led me to be like, oh gosh, I should reach out. Like for you, like what was that spark? Because I think you had talked about it right after reading that story. So like what was the fire that this lit for you?
Well, first I want to start off by saying I found this in a little library. So again, it's more incentive to go to little libraries, but I had no idea who he was, and I just picked it up because I love classic literature and I love horror. And when I saw in the back that he's inspired by Kafka, Poe, and Lovecraft, it was like, that's me written all over it. So I was really excited. And for this to be the opening short story in this collection, we know openings set the tone for everything. So to have this be the first thing was very jarring. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. All right. But I love horror. I love horror short stories, and I've read a couple collections before, but I've never read his writing. And yes, it was very shocking. I'd say I don't even know. So for me, it stuck with me because it's such like, there's horror, like you were saying, and then there's stuff that haunts you that it literally lingers. And that's what the story feels like. And I was just curious because I was like, okay, Frolic, because that is what I watch a lot of Criminal Minds too. So I was really in the zone with this book. I was like, this is so good. So I was like, okay, let me look up the term frolic and like see these definitions. And I'm like, I know what it means based off of all of our life experiences with the word. And it truly is just a positive connotation. There is no negative way to view it. And so to have this serial killer, this John Doe, who is so deranged that he views what he does as a positive, joyful experience is so disgusting. Like, it's so terrible. And also the fact that it's children that are his victims, it's just haunting. And then so all of that in itself, in this conversation between this husband and wife, is already disturbing. And then you add the other element, which Asa has not revealed yet. It just makes it so, like, it feels so icky. And it honestly starts from the top. I don't know if you guys felt this way too, but from the opening line of in a beautiful home in a beautiful part of town, I already knew that shit was going to get crazy. I was like, oh, something bad is going to happen. And then even as it's like going on, and I even wrote in here, like, the wife is saying, you know, all these positive things and the way that life is going to change now that they're going to have this new life, and is dreaming up all these awesome things. And I wrote in the margins, I'm like, girl, this is crazy. Like, this is so bad. And I was like, this is so insane of Ligotti for being such an amazing writer, where he's setting this tone. I was like, yeah, even with the promise, the gut of the reader says something terrible is about to happen. Like, even when, like, verbally this character is confessing, like, this is going to be great, you're in your head like, no, it's so not. So I think all of this, it was like he was sprinkling these moments of terror, you know, without even showing anything on page. It was just, you felt it. And like, you felt the presence, honestly, of this serial killer through the whole thing. And that he had really consumed our doctor, what is his name? Dr. Mulk or something crazy?
Monk.
Dr. Monk. And so it's like, you could feel he hooked his claws into him. And so you felt that. And then I can only imagine, like, as a wife, like, how that would feel. Like, if you're seeing your partner like going through something and you're just like I love, she's like, how did it go today, David? Like, are you okay? Like, I can tell you're not. Like, it was just, and then the climax is just, it stuck with me. It really, really, truly did. And yeah, it left an impression. And yeah, I now have a Ligotti problem. So I get it.
I just want to highlight some folks here. Just Jimmy, thank you for being here. Jimmy clarified that earlier philosophical idea.
Thank you.
Natalist is what that means if you're someone who doesn't want the species to continue, which he doesn't. It's legit. He's written essays about it. Lord Huntress says, somehow the Frolic reminds me a bit of a twisted version of the story that we all read called There's a Long, Long Trail a Winding by Russell Kirk. So if this is your first stream, Lore is referring to a story club that Sarah and I run on Thursdays where we're working our way through the Dark Descent. Do you have a copy there, Sarah?
I do. And it's funny because I don't have today's book because I have an ebook, so I can't hold it up. But gosh darn it, I'm going to hold this up.
Yeah.
So this story, There's a Long, Long Trail a Winding. Yes, my wheels are turning, but that is interesting. So Lore here is connecting this story to that story. Sarah, what about you? Okay, like, you read this story again last night. Also, you were texting me. Like, where are you at with the story right now?
Oh man, I've read this story several times at this point, and I also got the audiobook, and so then I fell asleep listening to it, which was I don't know. So I was joking with Laura earlier in the chat that who knows what kind of stuff is in there now, like subconsciously.
Subliminally, yeah.
Yes, thank you, subliminally, yes. But I have a lot of feelings. I initially started reading this. I am a very deep fan of the X-Files. And I know we had talked before about Thomas Ligotti having written a never aired episode of the X-Files. And so I was thinking about this, like setting the stage, like in a beautiful home, as Tay read earlier, in a beautiful part of town, in the town of Nolgate, site of the state prison. And I was just imagining like the camera panning down.
Yeah.
And then what are Mulder and Scully gonna do, when they get here? But it very quickly veered away from that in a much more literary sense. I studied John Cheever when I was in college, and his sort of 1950s sardonic suburbia, really, that tone sort of really jumped out at me. We're setting the stage here for, it's a beautiful home in the suburbs. There's a giant prison nearby, which I'm in Sioux Falls, and there's actually the state penitentiary is literally up the hill up there. So I was like, I get this. Yeah. But yeah, other impressions were, especially having read it multiple times, I feel like each time I read it, it was a different story in a way. Like, it still hit me the same. The ending was still the same, but different parts of the story stuck out to me. So, but I think I really liked the sardonic opening. I liked the and I don't know if this was just me, but I got a tone of like, Ligotti is playing with us, and he's playing with these characters like a cat with a mouse. Like, he is like, hey, look, they're so happy. Look, they have a statue of Aphrodite. Hey, look. Yeah. I'm going to rip this all down. It's very knowing. And he's so incisive, too, about he's in the wife's head, and she's kind of in a position, and you might have mentioned this earlier, Tay, that like she really wants to get out of this town, and she's trying to like push her husband subtly, and she backs off at some point with this manipulation. And so we've got a beautiful home, we have layers of manipulation, and then we have what happens as this like egg in the center. But yeah, I loved the sardonic feeling. It also hit me in one of my last reads that I'm very interested in the character of John Doe, even though we're told kind of everything and nothing about him at the same time. And I don't know if this is where we want to start. I like starting.
Sarah,
where
why
we
don't you give
started.
everyone just a little context on who John Doe is?
Yeah, John Doe.
I'll try to find a good description of him, but yeah, just so people know who he is in the story.
I'll look through here too. John Doe is our antagonist. John Doe is in a psychiatric ward. He says several very key things. He is in prison, quote unquote, for frolicking, which is the title of our story. He appeared out of nowhere. Dr. Monk says it's as if he just dropped out of nowhere. His fingerprints don't match any record of previous convictions. He was picked up in a stolen car parked in front of an elementary school. And we get the idea that children have been going missing from that school, and he is the reason. Very upsetting, very upsetting. It insinuates that he wanted to be caught because he sees prison as a vacation, which we can talk more about that. But as for his demeanor, he refuses to tell people who he is, which is kind of a power move. And he changes his accent. He speaks in a German accent, a Swedish accent. He's changing his accent all the time. And he says he is a man of 1,000 names. Mm-hmm. He also says he comes from, can I read like this one description he gives of like where he comes from?
Yeah.
So here we go. He talks, let's see. He comes from a place, there's quite a poetic geography to it. He talked about a place that sounded like a cosmos of crooked houses and littered alleys, a slum among the stars. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh. Here, I'm going to read this too. His memories of a moonlit corridor where mirrors scream and laugh, dark peaks of some kind that won't remain still, a stairway that's broken in a very strange way. Though this last one fits in with the background of the slum. He comes from this horrible / amazing sounding place. And with John Doe, nothing is ever one thing. He has multiple names. He has multiple accents. The place he comes from is cosmic in its sense, and I don't think it is meant to be understood. And I think that's amazing about it. So he comes from this place, and that's where he takes these children. He says he has access to this world. He takes children there for a frolic, which he sees as an innocent gesture. I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to be quiet. But with all the many faces, the many names of this character, he is very much a trickster, but in a much, I think, more dangerous way than I'm used to reading the trickster sort of trope character. So did I forget anything there about John Doe? Just to kick us off.
I thought that was really thorough. I mean, one thing he says is he can escape whenever he wants.
Oh, that's the other key. That's the key. And he says that early on.
And he like wildly somehow knows the name of the doctor.
Dude, I wrote that. I just find it's so clever. Also, the way he reveals he knows it. And it didn't hit me until on a reread when he's like, you wouldn't be having a misbehaving laddie nor a little Colleen of your own. And I was like, that's so clever, because he didn't outright say her name, but nor, and then they point out that's not the correct use of that word, so that doesn't really make sense for him to have said. And it's just like, oh my god,
yeah,
I love that. Anyway,
right? Because like, what's the kid's actual name?
Norleen.
Nor Colleen. So it's like he basically was like subconsciously saying, I know the name of your daughter, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I love when there was something before he starts describing his house that I really loved. I was reading it along with you. Yeah, he says he seemed to feel a kind of homesickness, though his home is a ramshackle ruin of his decayed mind. And basically that's before he describes to his wife what you just described. So it's like he's saying, this is like not real, but like this is what he said his home is like initially. And he's saying like, this is all just psychosis. And, you know, I find it really interesting too, that I guess when the doctor was talking to John Doe, John Doe was saying, I'm just taking them to where I'm from, but I have to cover it up by doing the things that you guys have convicted me for. Which he's like, I don't think I'm doing a bad thing. I'm just taking them to this place. And then it's almost like he's saying he has to cover up his actual actions with whatever horrible crime he's committed to these children, you know, which I was like, I just have so many questions. I have so many questions, but yeah, it's so disturbing.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we include everyone. There's like some really exciting.
There's some good. Yeah.
Cody the writer is in the mix. OMG Taylor. Yes, I know, Cody. How lucky are we? Look at this. An all-star on the stream. Hi, Cody. Y'all, Cody is another writer here on YouTube, along with Mateo. Or AuthorTube is well represented this morning. Cody is working on a new draft of a novel. He's got all kinds of live streams going. That's how Taylor and I met. Yeah. So shout out, Cody. I hope it's going well. Here's some thoughts about the story. Jimmy says, whenever a character in a story says they have 1,000 names, they're evil, probably demonic.
Literally.
Yeah. And that's like a sort of We Are Legion sort of feel. Yeah.
John Doe echoes loudly later in Stephen King's Pennywise. Okay. Psychological Game, says Lore Huntress. Mateo says, if John Doe is an entity, does that take away from the horror of it? I often find that humans doing bad things is scarier than an entity doing bad things. He felt like a human to me.
Yeah.
I thought he was an entity, but we can
seriously?
talk more about
Oh my God, say more. What, really? Whoa.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
So have you played Hades, the video game?
No.
Okay. There's a chaos, the creator of the world. John Doe is very chaotic. Chaos in Hades is portrayed as a person of many voices. So when chaos speaks, like this crowd of voices comes out. And I was just thinking about John Doe as this like trickster chaos figure. And I came up with, and at first I thought that this was a sort of person who had been in a Lovecraft situation and had gone mad. Initially, I thought that it was like, we've read some Lovecraft on during Story Club, and people come out of that just raving and waving their arms and saying that they live in the stars and such. But I don't know. I think that John Doe he appeared out of nowhere. He has no fingerprints. He somehow gets in the house.
He somehow escapes from the prison.
Yes, he escapes from the prison unnoticed. I think that I just got a feeling that he was a visitor from somewhere else. And the somewhere else is very vividly described. He is in prison as a vacation. And so, again, we get a plausible deniability here, though, because these could also just be, as our husband psychologist says, these are just the ravings of a madman. But it caused me to just give it a second thought about who we're dealing with here. I just really saw it as maybe like a lesser god or a lesser deity of chaos.
I feel that, especially because of what they were able to achieve. The fact that they were able to escape this prison, the fact that they knew the kid's name. This, I think your comment here, Cody, dovetails with this. Cody, the writer, says, love the idea of John Doe being a power play. I feel like we have the innate instinct for understanding. And when we can't understand something, that's where the infatuation with intrigue begins.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Doe, right. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
I can see you.
I'm also this person. Hey. Oh, wonderful.
Hi, Trevor.
Hi, Trevor.
He also works here. Anyway.
Oh, that's great. It just reminded me, too, of, we talk about Lovecraft bringing these places to Earth, right? We talk about, we just read The Call of Cthulhu, where they visit the Arctic and there's all these impossible geometry, and the talk of like broken staircases and mountains that won't stay still makes me wonder if this is like before, this came to Earth at some point, or before it was manifested on Earth. I also am just... okay. I'm sorry. I have like too many thoughts going on.
Yeah.
Have you heard the podcast I Am in Askew?
Oh wait, that's like a horror podcast, right?
Yeah, it's a single voice horror podcast, and I love it. It's a little older, but Askew is exactly what this made me think of. Like the narrator ends up in this place with impossible geometry, cliffs that lead to nowhere, broken staircases, etc. And maybe that also sort of so it's like maybe all of this other literature and stuff is just priming me to think of this place as like a real, like a plane or a dimension that you can go to. I'm so sorry, I got super distracted.
No, we retract it.
We're all on the
Okay,
same
good.
team here.
Okay, good.
I think I want to believe he's a person, which may make it worse, but I honestly think, and that could be my influence from Criminal Minds coming in. Where I'm like, this isn't completely outlandish to me because I've seen, like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's also a TV show, but I've seen the way that like we as writers and people can come up with these horrific people who haven't had their fingerprints in systems and have literally been doing this their whole lives and have never been caught, type of a thing. So I think a part of me likes, okay. So the thing that really stuck with me, I'm really also big into art. And so the scene where the wife, Leslie, like presents this gift to her husband, which first of all, I was like, babe, that is not the direction to go in. If this man, well, maybe she was being manipulative, actually, now that I think about it. But it's like, why would you present this thing knowing he hates his job, knowing all of these things? Basically, the wife gives him a gift, for you guys that haven't read it, it's made by one of the prisoners. And in my head too, I'm like, I feel like I've seen that stuff before. And I think they say who made the piece. So I'm sure she already knows John Doe. She already knows. So I'm like, girl, was this a multi-level marketing scheme? Like, what are we doing? So I was like, now I'm thinking about that. But I found it, so this is, I think, what added to my level of fear was she presented this thing to him and immediately, you know, the vibes are off. I knew the moment she was like, I got him a gift. I'm like, girl, set it down. Right. Set it down. And she brings it to him and is like, I got you this really nice gift. And he unboxed it and was like, where did you get this? And she's like, oh, and this is what stuck with me. Like, I literally had this line in my head, and that doesn't normally happen. But when she's like, I bought it at the little shop where they sell things the inmates at the prison make. And I said, this cannot be a good thing, girl. Some of it is quality merchandise, belts, jewelry, ashtrays. You know, I know, said David, his voice at a distance from Leslie's enthusiasm. I didn't think anyone actually bought that stuff. Well, I did. I thought it would help to support those prisoners who are doing something creative instead of destructive things. And this line right here, creativity isn't always an index of niceness. That literally, like, it right into my brain. And I think about it so often, and it comes back up to me. But that line specifically stuck with me. And the fact that the piece she gave him is like his latest victim. And the line of that expression of sky blue peacefulness wasn't on the boy's face when they found him lying in a field about 6 months ago. And she's like, no, David. And I'm like, girl, quit. You knew. But, and then he's like, yeah, this was his most recent and according to him, most memorable frolic. And like, do you see like the way, and I think that's what makes it so icky in a memorable way is how, like, it's just that counter thing of he's speaking of this thing with such joy and like words that in our mind should be of a positive, uplifting thing. And it's about horrible actions, you know, and it just like, it just makes me so uncomfortable. And then, sorry. No, you're good. I can say my other thing later, but
no. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say he calls his victim something, and I want to look up what it is.
Oh.
He has a very specific, let's see.
What does he?
I know he calls Norlene specifically an awestruck little deer, but awestruck something, I want to say. Like, he has a very strange name for what he calls these children. And he makes it sound like he's bringing them to a place of beauty and joy. I'll look for it. I'm so sorry about interrupting you. I get excited.
No, you didn't.
I want to bring in Mateo here because I actually think this instinct of Mateo, I'm going to share. Okay, so Mateo Leon Rodriguez says, when I heard made by a prisoner, I thought it meant a skin lampshade or something. Okay, right. Not an unreasonable instinct. But to piggyback off what you were saying, Tay, about like the beauty of this, and I really think that's what makes it icky and effective, is this like juxtaposition of like this child killer with, I'm just going to read, this is like right where Tay was reading too. It's describing this little clay figurine of the victim. And it says, it was the head of a young boy, a lovely piece, discovered in gray, formless clay and glazed in blue. The work radiated an extraordinary and intense beauty, the subject's face expressing a kind of ecstatic serenity, the convoluted simplicity of a visionary's gaze. Right. So it's like, this is like a low-key masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's kind of what makes it so effective, is like, this is not a skin lampshade. This prisoner is some kind of like savant sculptor, and the person capable of the most heinous crimes is actually capable of sculpting something extraordinarily beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so, even like the doctor, he described watching him make it, because he was there for the process of him sculpting it, and he was like, it was like art. It was, and again, like you're saying, the juxtaposition of having this horrible reason he's making it, but it's creating this beautiful thing, and it's just so disturbing. Oh my God. The other thing I was going to bring up was the Bambi.
Yes.
The Bambi, which I also love the moment. I like circled it in big things because I knew rereading it that something was wrong. But she's like, "What's wrong, David?" And he's like, "I thought I heard a sound. A sound like what? Can't describe it exactly. A faraway noise." And that could play into him not being human, like if he's an entity, an alien, whatever we want to think of him as. But also, again, this is probably the criminal minds part of my brain, but a part of me likes to think maybe John Doe stuck around to hear some of their conversation. Because when you're reading it from that moment on, he's talking about John Doe and how he views him. And he's like, his victims are dead and they died horribly. And like, he's kind of talking ill of him, you know? So I'm like, a part of me can't help but think maybe John Doe was there listening in to the way he thinks of him. I don't know. A part of me likes to think that happened. But about the Bambi, when he goes in to check on Norlene and he first sees it, he's like, she shouldn't be having that. And it's like, you're right. Maybe bring that up. Maybe like talk about that with your wife. But so he immediately is like, she's too old to be having, stuffed animals, whatever. And then just when they go back, oh God, when that's the revelation that something is amuck with their daughter, and they're like, he says, oh my gosh, when I went to check on her a little while ago, I felt, I don't know, vulnerable in some way. And I was like, she was hugging one of those stuffed security blankets of hers. It was a new one, I noticed. Did you buy it when you were out shopping today? And she's like, the only thing I bought was that, she said, pointing to the box on the coffee table. What's new one do you mean? The stuffed Bambi. Well, if she had it before, it didn't come from me, nor me, which I circled because I just...
Yep.
Nor me. I don't remember her having it when I put her to bed, said Leslie, and I put panic in all caps. I was like, hello? Well, she had it when I looked in on her after hearing David paused. It's just immediately your stomach drops and you're just for a minute, I thought maybe this wasn't going to happen, and now it's happening. And then he runs in there and she's gone. The Bambi is there and it's torn to shreds with its, I'm assuming intestines is actually like the stuffing. Yeah. But still the way he even describes that, and yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Can we walk through that too? Oh, and I don't want to derail you, but I also would love to look at that more.
Yeah. So I'm going on. David paused to make an expression on his face, as if he were engaged in some frantic rummaging search within every cell of his brain, which, first of all, that's a bar. And then he goes on and she's like, what's the matter, David? I'm not sure exactly. It's as if I know something and don't know it at the same time. And I think that's very, I'm not a parent, but I can imagine that is the feeling you have. Like you don't want to believe something has happened, or even to your loved one. You're like, I don't want to believe that this has happened, so I'm not going to think it. But Dr. Monk was beginning to know. With his left hand, he covered the back of his neck, warming it, which is, again, as a writer, that's such a beautiful way to say that the goosebumps on the back of your neck stuck up. Like, what a creative, oh gosh. Okay.
Very good.
He runs to the bedroom. Again, and I like this. There's this big paragraph right here, which kind of derails the whole moment of the scene. And I've also been reading a lot of literature where people go mad and like actually crazy. And he goes in this completely other direction. Like he's not thinking about his daughter in this moment. He's thinking of something else. Was there a draft coming from another part of the house? There was not the kind of place to be theirs was not the kind of place to be drafty, not a broken down hole in the wall hovel where the wind gets in through ancient attic boards and wrap. And so he keeps going on and he's now thinking of this other thing. And you mentioned the Aphrodite sculpture. He's thinking of those things. And I'm like, brother, your daughter could be missing. Like, let's go, you know?
Yeah.
And then I love this stuff like this bothers me in like the way I think it's supposed to, but he has the what here. And it's not in quotations. It's like, it breaks this giant monologue he's having in his head. And it just says, what? And that's it. And I'm like, what does that mean?
I so did not notice that. Oh, this is juicy. Yeah.
And then David, did you feel a draft? Asked his wife immediately after that. So I'm like, what made you what? What? Anyway, yes, he replied as if some sobering thought had just come to mind. Yes, he repeated that's the actions of a crazy person. I'm sorry. Norleen, he chanted before reaching the half-closed door to her room. He could feel the breeze coming from there. He knew and did not know. In italicized, it's chef's kiss to me. I love that so much. He groped for the light switch. It was low, the height of a child. He turned on the light. The child was gone. Across the room, the window was wide open, the white translucent curtains flapping upwards on the invading wind. Alone on the bed was a stuffed animal, torn, its soft entrails littering the mattress. Beautiful. Oh my God. Now stuffed inside, blooming out like a flower, was a crumpled piece of paper. And then it's a letter from the doctor, which is horrifying. And then, okay. Okay. So I have a problem with the ending of this book, which I love. I love that.
Go on.
I love that so much. So in his letter, he's basically saying,
Taylor, do you just want to give like a quick like overview for anyone who didn't read, like what literally happens at the end? I don't know.
But basically they hear this noise and he goes in to check on his daughter. He notices again, I'm like, brother, think the window is cracked open and he's saying it's a warm spring night. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he shuts the window. And his daughter's asleep. Everything's fine. And then they continue to talk. And then they hear, they start talking about the baby. That's what triggers him. They go into the room. The window is wide open now. And this cold breeze is flowing through the room. And their girl is missing. She is gone. Norleen is gone. And they even talk about how John Doe could have known it was Norleen. And he kind of throws it off as like, well, I guess somebody else could have told him. Like, it could have been a guard or it could have been another therapist or like something else. And so then the note that is left inside of the dead Bambi is Dr. Monk, which I love. He spells his name wrong. I love that so much because I just love that. Read the note from inside, or Dr. Monk read the note from inside the animal. We leave this behind. We is so, we leave this behind in your capable hands. Which is so, oh my gosh, the double boom, boom, because it's like, you're not capable because I just got your daughter. For in the black foaming gutters and back alley of paradise, in the dank windowless gloom of some intergalactic cellar, in the hollow pearly whirls found in sewer-like seas, in starless cities of insanity, and in their slums, my awestruck little dear and I have gone frolicking. See you anon, Jonathan Doe. Hello? Trevor. Okay. David heard his wife's voice inquire from the bottom of the stairs. Is everything all right? This right here, this paragraph bothers me so much.
Okay, go on. And then tell us why.
Okay. Then the beautiful house was no longer quiet, for there rang a bright, freezing scream of laughter, the perfect sound to accompany a passing anecdote of some obscure hell. Who was laughing, and from where? Is it David? Is it the doctor? Is he the madman this whole time? Was he crazy? Is he the thousand voices? Did he never actually become a therapist? Is he the one who's killing his daughter? Like, that sent me spiraling. And I think that's when open-ended things that are not clear, they mean everything to me. I love that so much. I don't want an answer,
Yeah.
like, wow. Anyway, that was so long-winded. Thank you for letting me expand upon that.
It was beautiful. Yeah. We're here for it. We also have a comment asking you what your nail color is, or maybe asking.
Ooh. It is
ready.
I got it last night, actually. I think it's called Zen Wine from like the Sally's nail. I literally got it. It's like $2. Yeah.
Wonderful. And this is all part of the conversation too. This all comes together.
Yeah, it just kind of match the vibes,
It does.
Yeah,
it really does.
I love that.
I know that there was tons of conversation earlier around the sculpture as totem, as Lovecraftian. We might come back to those. I just want to say that I saw those comments and that was like really
They're
smart.
really good.
Keep it all coming. I mean, okay, Sarah, like I loved your kind of explosive response there, Tay, about the ending and just like all those questions it generated. What are your thoughts on the ending, Sarah?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well,
if you have a strong take.
I have a lot of takes. I like that you called it Tay's explosion of takes, because really an ambiguous ending like this really, it does leave it open to a number of different interpretations. And we were already writing on multiple possibilities before that ending hit. So we've got an ambiguous ending on top of, is this real? Is this not? Is he a person? Is he an entity? Is he somehow both? Is he a traveler between planes, etc.? I also found where the victims, the children, he calls them his awestruck company. Yeah. So he uses, like you said earlier, Tay, a lot of beauty, wonder, awe, which again, very, very Lovecraftian. It's a way to, explain the inexplicable, and to describe the indescribable. Kashiki says, I loved this ending as well. I don't know how else you would have ended it. I interpreted it as the father screaming. But I also had some logistical questions. And
because it's laughter.
Yes. Well, okay. So we know in cosmic horror, you cannot help but go insane. Whether you're, in a Lovecraft story, whether you are, playing a tabletop RPG that is Lovecraft based, you don't have an option. If you face the unknown, the unknowable, you will go insane. And so one interpretation, I think the strongest one for me, was that this laughter was David's, because he is finally put together, wow, John Doe really dropped all these clues for me. I didn't pick them up. And now my daughter's gone. And how do you respond to that? Just shrieking madness laughter. And so for me, that was like maybe the most like plain or simple. Yeah. And Jimmy just said the laughter could be, the doctor going insane, the wife hysterical. Right. It doesn't say it was a male or female laughter. It doesn't say it was ethereal or present. And I think that honestly, that makes it even more amazing, because any of these three, John Doe, or maybe it's even the daughter from another realm screaming with laughter. We just know that madness is here. Madness is present in this family now. And and Jimmy is echoing Tay's thought earlier that the doctor is truly the mad killer and John Doe is entirely his creation. Also totally viable. But yeah, in asking what I thought of the end, it made me go back. Oh, that's good, Lore. Oh, in a sense, their laughter has become part of John Doe's 1,000 voices. Oh.
Wait, you're cooking with that.
Yes, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
It's like, what if the voices are his victims?
Yeah. And oh my gosh. So, okay, but I have some questions, and Asa and Tay, if you can help me understand. Okay, so Dr. Monk goes upstairs, and this is the first time he's been up there. He's just checking on Norleen. She's snuggled up with Bambi. So Bambi's here, and the window is closed to like an inch. It's only open an inch to let in a little fresh air. But the presence of the Bambi means that John Doe is in the room currently, or was in there, dropped off Bambi, scurried out, and is like watching from outside. So either way, John Doe has already been in here. Whether he is still in there hiding in a closet or something or not, somehow makes things even worse. And then later, when Dr. Monk goes to check on Norleen and she's gone, the window is now open. So I guess, man, maybe it doesn't matter. I feel like sometimes like the details maybe it doesn't matter. Like, oh, he went in there and then he left with Norleen out of the window, and that's why the window was more open. Did that indicate that he did not need the window that much open to get in? How did he get the stuffed animal in there? Did he shut the window to a crack after he gave her the stuffed animal? And again, maybe these don't need answers, but I was just very curious.
I like it. Because then think about it. If he did do as one of the suggestions and crack it open, intentionally stay, maybe he was just going to give her the stuffed animal, leave a little note. Like, who knows? Maybe he initially wasn't going to steal Norleen, but then in hearing the way he spoke of him, because I was just looking back through this, and then again, another possibility here. That's why I was like, I need to highlight this. But he's not saying nice things. No, he's obviously not. He's not a great person, clearly. But it's just the way that he speaks of him is very like he starts, I don't want to say making fun of him, but he's talking like him and telling his wife the exact things that was spoken between them. And so I'm like, that would kind of make me upset. But something that stuck out to me was after he goes in and checks the daughter, after he closes the window and he comes back to his wife, and they start talking, and he's like, let me tell you exactly verbatim what John Doe has been saying. And so he kind of reenacts this conversation, and this is suspicious. The wife says, you do a pretty good John Doe imitation, I must say. How the hell would you know? How would you know? Sorry, I get passionate. I just don't.
Oh, I do too. I'm here.
I love it. Oh,
I feel like
sorry.
It's great. I love it. We're here for being passionate about stories. I'm here for it. I'm also curious about why the Bambi was split open. I have to say, maybe a little embarrassingly, that when I first read the story, yes, Laura says, Taylor, that got me too. That's wonderful. Initially, my first thought, this is very stupid, was that he snuck. I didn't know how big the Bambi was. So he like snuck the Bambi in, and like he was inside the Bambi, and then he popped out, and like, I don't know. What,
if he's like, an entity,
and now if he's an entity, maybe he can shrink. Who knows? But what do you think? I mean, what do you think about that? Was it discounting the possibility that John Doe was like hiding inside the Bambi somehow, which I don't think is super realistic.
Like if he heard what he was saying, and made that decision, and just it's showing this is what's going to happen to your little girl.
Yeah.
I think this actually could relate to what Jimmy's saying here. Jimmy's saying is the open windows a feint to make later investigators think he needed a wide open window to enter and leave. So yeah, what you're saying now about Bambi ripped open, why he actually, the story several times talks about how he needs to like perform serial killer. I think you were talking about it earlier. Like he's like, just I need to do these things so that y'all like get it. Yeah. Otherwise you won't get it. And so maybe similarly, he's got to leave the window open. Oh, this killer jumped through the window. He's got to like have a ripped like
leave a trail,
cotton everywhere. So that like there's a scene of violence consistent with the stories we want to tell ourselves about serial killers. The note can also be, I mean, this is like pure, what you'd find from a serial killer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like all performative,
Yeah. And it's in multiple handwritings. So like just as he spoke in like multiple accents, he has multiple handwritings. He has 1,000 names. I don't know. Okay, I have a thought, and I don't know if this is cheating, but I think you both have also read other stories in this volume.
Yeah.
I also want to say, oh my gosh, did you know that Thomas Ligotti is one of 10 living writers to ever be published by in this Penguin series, the Penguin Classics?
What?
Yeah.
I
Like
didn't know that.
he is honored. Like this is a huge deal. Like you're still alive and like they're putting you in the classics. So
Wow. I didn't
okay,
know
but anyway, that aside, I get so excited about stuff like that too. It's like, what are we witnessing here?
Yeah.
And he's still alive. So hi, Thomas Ligotti, if you're dropping
Thomas!
by. We think
I
you're
got
great.
questions.
Yeah, yes. Get in touch, please.
Uh,
Oh gosh. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. It was something about the deer. It was something about planes of existence. Can you
yeah.
remind me? Or maybe should we just go on?
I mean, I think one thing I would like to talk about, since you brought up the other stories, is that I feel like
Oh,
almost.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
The other story.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the pathway. Thank you. I have ADHD. I cannot remember anything. Okay, sorry. Okay, so one of the reasons that I thought in rereading this story, one reason I thought that like he was from another world or another plane was the second story in this volume is called Les Fleurs. And it is about a guy who either can go or thinks he can go to a dimension that sounds a little similar to what John Doe is talking about here. There's this other world of disturbing beauty, like simultaneous beauty and terror. And this character also takes jaunts there. And I'm like, so that's really going through, that's really what made me read that with that strong interpretation the second way through. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up as well.
Yeah. Now that you're saying it.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, for me, like a big appeal of this writer is this like unabashed love of nihilism. You know, just this like this is celebrating the meaninglessness, which is a kind of a way to liberate yourself from it. I guess is kind of like, you know, Lore Hunters at one point you said, and when I'm feeling down, I read Ligotti or something. I can't remember exactly what your turn of phrase was, Lore. But there is something about that. I don't know, for me at least, there is something cathartic in that, like at any moment, like your kid could just get disappeared by a serial killer. And it's like, by telling the scariest version of it at some level, it like affirms that fear, or kind of just like, okay, we live in a twisted, dark world, and I'm going to read stories about a version of this world that's even more twisted, and somehow that's going to make me feel okay. I don't know. There's something there that works for me as a reader, I think.
Yeah, it's a catharsis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Asa, what did you think? We've not heard a lot from you. What were your thoughts going through the ending of this? What were your impressions? What did you think?
Oh, I mean, this story is it's just so hot. I love it. I love so much about it. I love how like tight the POV is on the wife for almost all of it, and then it kind of dips into the doctor. And the ending I think is just truly like, I just feel the ending is so surprising. How do I put this? There could have been so many much simpler endings that would have similarly been so satisfactory. You know, the fact that they go upstairs and the kid is gone, you've already earned an incredible arc for a short story. You've already like got me. I've had an emotional experience. But, and I'll just read it for everyone, this last like couple sentences.
Yeah.
Then the beautiful house was no longer quiet, for there rang a bright, freezing scream of laughter, the perfect sound to accompany a passing anecdote of some obscure hell. So yeah, I mean, I think that just touches on all the stuff y'all have been talking about the cosmic horror. And it's like, okay, not only do we live in a horrifying world where your children can be plucked from your upstairs in the night and you'll never see them again, but actually maybe this world that we're living in is hell, right? And so just the fact that the ending kind of kicks us into that, which becomes almost like an intellectual moment in addition to the emotional, visceral one. It's like, we just saw a child be taken from her parents forever. We know what's going to happen to her. I'm already like, and then you're actually going to also forced me to confront the fact that maybe this room is actually just a corridor of hell. You know, I mean, to me, that was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And similarly, like this is the first story of the collection. I didn't know anything about this writer either.
Mm-mm.
Like I saw the name on some Reddit or something and I just like grabbed it. And yeah, I got to that last sentence. I was like, oh, it's so on. I get it. Like that is why this writer is esteemed and everything. So that was kind of, I don't know. Yeah, that was my experience. Yeah, and I did like the kind of like domesticness of this story, which is different than his others. This one was like more grounded, you know, in this like mid-century home, and it was like we're in I don't know, and I appreciated that, and I think because some of the other stories are really tough, you know,
very abstract.
Yeah, just he's such a dense writer, and this one really was accessible. So I'm glad it was the first one.
Me too. What did you think of the phrase "a passing anecdote of some obscure hell"? So he talks about this laugh, and the laugh is a perfect pairing for a passing anecdote of some obscure hell.
Well, yeah, I read that as like the anecdote is this killer taking away this girl and killing her terribly. Right. And so like that's just a passing anecdote. So like that's not even like it's not that bad of a thing. You know, that's just like this is just like a gust of wind. And in some obscure hell, I mean the inclusion of obscure there for me like identifies that like this is just but one hell of many.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So in so many ways, that last sentence is just it expands the scope of what the story is doing and saying, I think, was my experience of it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. It makes me want to like break down the sentence because it's almost like, Sarah, what you were saying at the beginning, where it felt like if you picture it like a movie or a show of we're zooming into the house and then imagine zooming out and you're just hearing this horrific scream. And that's I love the picture too when he purposely says like then the beautiful house was no longer quiet, and it makes me imagine the houses surrounding it and how like the after effects of this, you know, like what that's going to mean for this small prison town, because he does mention before that very few other escapes have happened, and I was like, well, that's still concerning. Like that's a problem.
Very few means some have happened.
Yeah, which is great. And then the other thing that sticks out to me of this sentence is the perfect sound to accompany, like that little bit, like the perfect sound to so he's saying the scream is what makes like it's just the perfect pairing. Like it's like they were meant to go hand in hand.
It's aesthetic. You know? I think maybe that's what was sticking in my mind is it's not moral, it's not emotional, it's aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right? It's like pairing a wine with like a dish, right? Yeah. It's like, and like how flippant can you get, you know? Like, oh, the screen paired very nicely with what was going on. Like
it's such a detached narrator way of like ending it. I'm just like,
yeah. It's just it goes for the aesthetic, which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
No, I love it. There was one comment back up that I just wanted to mention. It was like way a while ago, but it was from Lore, and it says it's crazy because they're left with a sculpture of his previous Frolic while their own child is gone, as if the sculpture is an unintended replacement now. And that is such a great like conclusion to have drawn because it's so true. And the fact that the wife is the one who brought it was another layer. The dad was there when it was conceived. Like it's all the multi-level of it. But I didn't even think that was one after effect I didn't think about was the fact that they're left with the sculpture of his last Frolic to then have now been a victim of it.
Well, and it calls to mind like the changeling narrative.
Yeah.
Like when someone steals your baby and leaves an object in its place. I didn't mean to take us off track because I saw Jimmy had a comment here too, Asa, that you were highlighting. Yeah. Or it was about
one.
Yeah, I had that one up because of that was in tandem with Lore's about the sculpture.
Yes. And I just wanted to say it was very good. Yeah.
Jimmy says the sculpture strikes me as very Lovecraftian, a totem of the evil that
Mm-hmm.
either represents it or is a small separate piece of it that serves as an anchor of corruption. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Tay, I like your take that the wife brought that in, because like John Doe brought his own totem. He brought the Bambi, the stuffed Bambi.
Yeah.
But I think it's the totem that the wife brought in that's really
Another level
Mm.
disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. So this is so great. I mean, you could do like a semester on this writer, clearly. On this story, so yeah, let's just turn to this. We're all three of us are writing. We're all actively writing. Tay's working on book 3 of the trilogy. Sarah Ray Werner, season 2. I'm writing short stories. What can we learn as writers here? Like, what are some things you think you're like, ooh, I can grab that? If there's something or something like, oh, that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can lead us off for myself. Like, I think that for me, the most exciting thing about this story is the planting of seeds. You were talking about this at the very beginning, Tay, about how like from the jump, we know something is not good. We know it's going to end badly. And like, I love the number of different ways that Ligotti does that. Like you said, you point out like there's the pieces of dialogue, there's the text, it's script, the description itself, sentence 1 in a beautiful home in a beautiful part of town. And so what I would love to do, and I think it's just going to require like a third read even, is to go through and like look at all these like micro ways that they create dread. Like here's a fun sentence. The sounds of drink making, referring to these cocktails, the sounds of drink making were the only intrusion upon the living room's plush quiet. It's just like, it's so specific. So I don't know. For me, that like little specificity, how details can create dread, that's like my big take, or one of them at least, off the dome.
Yeah. Wow.
This was a hard one for me, I think, as far as like what I'm going to specifically take away from it. I know that I really enjoyed reading the story. It had a very good flow. It was completely engrossing in several ways. And I ended up highlighting a lot, again, because I had to use an ebook version. I ended up highlighting a lot of the turns of phrase, the descriptions. I couldn't stop thinking about the stairway that's broken in a very strange way. And it's just, I don't know. I guess maybe what I'm coming away with this is something less technical and less tactical, and more just start really playing around with how I'm describing things and how much more imagistic I can go with that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I think kind of similar to what you were saying, Asa, of like this underlying sense of dread. Like I love that you chose that word because it's so true. That's very much how this story feels. Is you just it's just so genius. I don't know how else to say it, but like the way that he is painting this pleasant home in this beautiful part of town, but there's something off, like as the reader. And I do think you were right in saying it's word choice. And to me, I think that's like a way I can get stronger at that. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you're fine. We'll vamp for a second or two here.
I mean, yeah, like this right. I mean, he's up there with like Cormac McCarthy or something, who just like is like dropping just vocabulary and stuff all the time, which is just he's such a literate writer, which I do think is like makes it challenging. Sarah, fun fact, you said you listened to the audio.
I did.
So
yes.
I don't know what version you listened to, but fun fact, I know that the one that's up on Audible, for example, is voiced by this writer scholar. It's not an actor.
John Padgett.
Okay,
yes.
So you know about this person.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess generally at some level he is an actor, but he's like the head of the Ligotti Society.
Yeah. So, Tay, real quick, we just took a sidebar into, I listened to the audiobook version of this, and it's narrated by John Padgett, who is not, often they get, celebrity actors and stuff to voice. This is not an actor. And you can actually, the reason that I know this and the reason that I know anything about John Padgett is because I had to look up, no offense to anybody, I was like, what? Because I do audio. Asa, you do audio. I know what it should sound like when you read an audiobook. I know what that sounds like. And this guy was just, he had a very different approach to narrating an audiobook. And I was like, what is going on? Who is this? And so then I went down the John Padgett rabbit hole. So yeah.
I had that exact experience. Like,
Yeah.
like this time I read it, but before I had listened to it, I was like, I want to listen to every audiobook that this reader has ever narrated.
Right.
I don't care if it's like a knitting self-help book. I don't care what I need to hear more of this voice. This is amazing.
It was so unusual for an audiobook narration. Like it's just.
But yeah, Tay, I don't know if you caught this. So the narrator is like the head of like the Ligotti Society, and also a writer. Like he's some like huge Ligotti head who just like loves Ligotti fiction. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Lore. Wait, this needs to be featured. I don't know this or not, but he's actually
an ex-ventriloquist.
Lore with the lore. Wow.
Lore with the lore.
Oh my God. I hope so. That's insane.
Well, with his enunciating, it would make sense. Like he says every T at the end of every word. Like,
wow.
I can
I'm
see
gonna have
that.
to listen to that. I love audiobooks, so I'll definitely have to check that out.
It's a trip. And it's like co-narrated, so there's another voice comes in for some stories.
Definitely. Oh wow.
Yeah.
How cool.
But
okay.
You were in the midst of telling, yes.
I
You
was
were saying the last thing you said today was like word choice. That was the last
word choice. So for me, it taught me a lesson of being super intentional about the words I use when I'm describing things, because as the writer, we have ways to, without the reader seeing it, set the tone. And almost that underlying use, like you said, like intrusion, like that's such an odd word for it, but it felt natural in reading it, yet it stuck with you because it's not supposed to be such a, like intrusion is such a strong word, like, you know? And so to have used it in a sense when she's just making drinks, it shouldn't feel, it's almost like a subconscious way of saying, hey, someone's intruding into your home.
Right.
And it's super, it just feels really intentional. And I think that's what I pulled from it is when I am setting the tone, because I have a lot of, I love drama and I love foreshadowing. I love like sprinkling in eggs and Easter eggs and things like that in my story. Especially there's just a lot of reveals that happen in this book. So in revising the first one, it's making me think of how can I set the tone? How can I set the mood, the emotion in the reader without showing it to them, you know, like it just, it really made me think of that. But
it's not showing or telling, it's insinuating, right?
Yes. It's an underlying, like, it's almost like how in a movie or in film, like they'll set the tone because they have visuals for it. So it's like, if there's fog or something, you're immediately like, this is not good, you know? So it's very similar. Like it feels like he has a fog to his writing. That's just, it's genius. Yeah. I love it.
I would add here that even when he is more explicit, it's like, it's not showing, it's like subtle. It's like kind of evocative, like what you're saying about intrusion. It's like connotative, but even when he is explicit, it's just feel like, here's one little bit where it is explicit. What are you trying to say, David? Asked Leslie, who was becoming infected by the uneasiness her husband was trying to hide. So like, even there, it's like, she's afraid. I mean, right? Like he's coming out and saying like, she's afraid, but like, even that is like so precise, very infected by the uneasiness her husband was trying to hide. Yeah.
Well, and it really speaks on a larger note of like really what is horror. Like it's something that does infect us. Like I think the power in some of his word choice is him. I don't know. I don't even know what the right word is. I'm very sorry about that, but just, I don't know, rewriting the language in a way that he needs to make the story work. Like intrusion, like understanding that like we can feel, you know, what it means to have the fear spread into us like a disease. And that's exactly what he's doing with this story. And it just, I don't know, it just makes it so much more incredibly powerful.
Whew, gosh. Well, I want to give everyone a chance to share how to find them and everything, but are there any kind of last like thoughts on the story that you need to, that either you have? If not, that's fine too. Just, you know, want to put that out there.
Can you hold up it's called, for anyone interested in this collection? Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a dual collection, Songs of a Dead Dreamer and Grim Scribe, which were both originally collections. And then, he got penguinized and
He
was
got
like,
penguined.
we're
Yes.
good. He's got penguined and the double collection here.
With the creepiest cover ever.
I know.
Oh,
That's what got
God.
me. It was like,
Such a great cover. It
He's
really
just
is.
smoking a little cigarette. I love it. It's so funny.
it's grotesque. It's dark. It's wonderful.
It really is. Well, y'all, if you're not part of the Discord yet, the Discord is continuing the jams. It is good times over there. I just put it in the link. So if you want to like kind of continue, stay up with more story clubs, just stay up with this kind of conversation and these kinds of writers, that's a place to be. Hey, Sarah, you want to tell everybody where they can find you and everything?
Yes. You can find me over on YouTube at Taylor Ann Wright or on Instagram at author Taylor Ann Wright. I post new videos every Saturday. And hopefully I can get the second edition of my first book out by the end of this year. And then the third book, knock on wood, will be out next spring. So yay.
Good. We're cheering for you. Oh,
Thanks.
I hope it happens.
Me too.
Well, I'm Sarah. You can find me on YouTube at Sarah Ray Werner. I don't come from YouTubing, but I find myself here. I come from podcasting, so check out the Right Now podcast. Check out Girl in Space. And what about you, Asa?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm here. So I think y'all know where to find me. I mean, I guess the one thing I'll plug is I do have a NaNoWriMo alternative vision for myself coming out. I recorded a video this morning, and I've never done NaNoWriMo, like coming from screenwriting and playwriting and stuff. They don't have NaNoWriMo, but I have a vision for myself, which includes all the problems of the last version and all my current problems and goals as a writer. Good. So anyway, that's my little wait and see. I'll probably edit it now and release it this afternoon.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And yeah, also, I guess just later this week, Sarah and I will be doing more of these. On Wednesday is Sci-Fi Story Club at roughly the same time. Thursday is Horror Story Club. And then we're trying to figure out what we're going to do Friday. I'm trying to talk Sarah into doing an all-day read aloud of scary stories in lieu of our workshop. I don't know if I've convinced her yet. Something exciting will be happening on Friday.
Yes.
Halloween.
Yes. It's Halloween. We have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Well, thank you for having me. This was so much fun and seriously such a pleasure. And if you ever want me back, I'll be there.
Oh, I mean, we'd love that. We'd love that. I mean, yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, it's been a delight to get to know you a little bit and to dive into a story with you. Just what a great experience. So thank you.
What
for
better
being
know?
here.
It's like there's those ways of like, when you go like camping with someone, you get to know them so quickly, or we all just read a Ligotti story together, y'all.
Of each other, yeah. This was a blast. Yes.
So
all right. Well, I'm gonna hit end. Everybody, have a great week.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.